Hello, friends, and thank you as always for visiting the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel, Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. This is the Week 2 highlight show for Year 2 of the Franchise Stars Football League, the second of 3 weeks of divisional play to open up the season. Then these teams, these division rivals, will not see each other again until Week 12 of this 14-week season. A little bit of a change in the format here in Year 2 rather than the customary 17-week schedule of the actual NFL. So we're not going to drag this out. We got a lot of great games on tap. Let's jump into it. Year 2 in the league where they play for pay. Head to Cincinnati, Steelers and Bengals. A frustrating opening week for the Steelers, who got 4 touchdowns from Ben Roethlisberger, a pick 6 from Troy Polamalu, and still lost a shootout with Browns 37-35. Bengals got after Tony Banks and took down the Ravens in Baltimore. They get to open here in front of a home crowd, their first home appearance of the year. Big one for Pittsburgh, who after a disappointing year 1 are desperate not to fall to 0-2. Come out firing out of the gate. Here's Ben Roethlisberger dropping back, a little bit of a play action fake, looks over the middle. There's Antonio Brown, big play down the middle, 35 yards into Bengals territory. Steelers get down to the goal line, second down here. They go to run it to the left side, but the play seems to get busted. And unfortunately for the Steelers, so does Big Ben. Roethlisberger goes down awkwardly. He would exit, and Terry Bradshaw, replaced in year 1 at the helm, would come off the bench, try to cap a long opening drive, and it wouldn't take long. Bradshaw's first play, he zips it into his big tight end, Eric Green, and the Steelers would strike 7-0 Pittsburgh. Bengals ball still early in the second, still 7-0 Steelers. But Ken Anderson and the Bengals would change that. Anderson drops, surveys the field, gets great protection, hits Carl Pickens from 20 yards out inside the pylon. And Cincinnati would get on the board, tie the game at 7. Steelers would go 3 and out, and the Bengals would roll again. Here's James Brooks, goes up the middle, there's nothing there, but he keeps the wheels churning, gets outside the tackles to daylight. Speaking of tackling, poor tackling here by the Steelers. Bill Cowher not happy with his defense a week ago. He won't be happy with this. 30 yards for Brooks, who brings it down inside the 10. Great job there by Brooks, turns nothing into a big game, but that kind of tackling, that is going to drive Bill Cowher and the Steelers faithful insane. Next play, it's Anderson over the middle. Chip Myers, 7-yard touchdown strike, and the Bengals would take a 14-7 lead. Late in the half, Anderson drops back, trying to get them down the field again before heading into the tunnel. He looks, and Levon Kirkland zone blitz, then dropped off the line, and he's right there for the interception to try to get Pittsburgh some momentum. Anderson just misread that play, and Anderson knows it coming off the field. It's a bad read. Kirkland does a good job dropping back into coverage. That one off, doesn't even look like Anderson saw him. A.J. Green running that drag route over the middle. After a Jesse Bates pass interference call in the end zone, it's John Fuqua who gets the carry here up the middle into the end zone, and the Steelers, with the extra point from Gary Anderson, would tie the game 14-14 as we head into the half. When the teams came out of the tunnel, Roethlisberger would be back under center for the Steelers, his ankle heavily taped, but ready to go. Neither offense was, though, and the third quarter would be scoreless, so we pick up action in the fourth. The ninth play of a long drive for the Steelers, Roethlisberger finds Plaxico Burress on the slant for the score, 7 yards out, 7 points, and the Steelers would get back in front, 21-14. Midway through the half, a Lee Johnson punt would pin Pittsburgh deep. They'd go 3 and out, punt it back, and a 17-yard return from Lamar Parrish would set the Bengals up from the 37. From there, it would be back-to-back strikes to A.J. Green. The second one, a 13-yarder in the back of the end zone for the score. And once again, we'd be tied in Cincinnati. Again, good movement from Anderson within the pocket. Green, a nice diving catch in the back of the end zone. All level again. We get down inside the 4-minute mark here. Steelers with 4th and 1, their own 46. They elect to go for it. Willie Parker gets outside, needed one, got 20. Big carry there for Parker, who pumped it up twice in the Week 1 loss. Drive stays alive, and here's Roethlisberger looking deep. Senses pressure, rolls right, and fires. Antonio Brown, 44 yards as he gets free. And it's Pittsburgh on top again, 28-21. Roethlisberger again knocked out with that ankle injury early on in this game. He missed most of the first half, looks plenty mobile there as he rolls right and fires the strike to Brown for the score. Anderson and the Bengals get to work in the 2-minute offense. Steelers defense, maligned after Week 1, do themselves no favors here. Anderson and Green, a great connection throughout this game. 35-yard strike as Green beats his man down the left-hand side, and it wouldn't take long from there. 2 plays later, it's Anderson to Green again, this time in the end zone. 36 seconds left. We are tied yet again, 28-28. Bengals go right down the field on the Steelers. Bill Cowher, apoplectic on the Steelers sideline. We're knotted up in Cincinnati. Another thriller for the Steelers. Overtime we go. Steelers would receive, go 3 and out. Bengals get the ball here near midfield. Steelers defense desperate for a big play, and James Brooks over 140 yards on the ground in this one. He wants this carry back. Gets mugged at the line, and a terrific play there from T.J. Watt around the backside, punches it out. Mel Blount dives on it. Steelers would take over. And a few plays later, it's the kicker Gary Anderson from 40 yards and good, blitz the uprights. And the Steelers, who still certainly have some defensive issues to figure out, far too much talent on their defense to be giving up what they are, especially on the ground. But they escape Cincinnati with a win in a second consecutive thriller. This time going their way here in Week 2, 31-28 Pittsburgh. For the Steelers, Roethlisberger 18 of 26 for 260 and a pair of scores. Willie Parker again carrying a hugely heavy load, 33 carries. The Steelers cannot keep on relying on Parker that much, especially in a game where he did not really gain a heck of a lot of yards. 33 for 78, 2 and change carries. That's not going to get it done. Big interception from Levon Kirkland. Terry Bradshaw off the bench, 6 of 10 for 66 yards and a score. Again, Bradshaw struggled last year, was benched late in the season with the Steelers' disappointing year. Roethlisberger led them to a few wins down the stretch, got the starting nod here for year 2. Ken Anderson continues his terrific mark for Cincinnati. 22 of 32 for 232, 4 touchdowns. Brooks 146 yards rushing with that huge fumble. And A.J. Green, 10 catches for 132 and a pair of scores. Scored that tying touchdown with 32 seconds left. But the Bengals fall in extra time, 31-28 at home. There was a lot of rain in Week 2 in the FSFL. In the first game where that had an impact, Cowboys and Giants from a dark and cloudy and wet MetLife Stadium. Emmitt Smith and the Cowboys match up against Harry Carson and the Giants. Sturdy defense. Can the Giants get enough offense going? Of course, the Cowboys had their own offensive troubles in Week 1, but they came out with the victory 12-9 over the Redskins at home. They will look to improve on that performance. Cowboys with some red zone difficulties, and that was an issue that limited Dallas last year. They ended up with a late rush. They fixed those things late in the season, made the playoffs as the 7th seed before falling to the Eagles. opening drive of the game. Giants at their own 24 here. Terry Collins in the shotgun, drops back. There's pressure up the middle. And that's big Russell Maryland, who hammers Collins back inside the 10 for the sack. Dallas would come heavy. So the Giants would be forced to punt deep from their own end. Cowboys in terrific field position. And here's Emmitt Smith. Jukes one defender, tears through the hole, gets down inside the 30. First down run there for Emmitt. Cowboys will go as far as Emmitt Smith takes them. They've got lots of talent throughout this roster, but Emmitt Smith is the lead dog in this offense. Hand off here, secondary back to Marco Murray. Murray runs it down, runs over another Giants defender, gets it down to the 10. So Dallas grinding it out in the early going in the rain here at MetLife. Staubach can throw it too, though. Drops back, pass, left-hand side, corner of the end zone, a diving grab, reeled in by Lance Rentzel for the score. And the Cowboys would take a 7-0 lead. Giants would come back down the field, though, in the second quarter. 4th and goal, they try from the line, and the Cowboys stand up. Giants had a long drive there. They give it here to Ron Johnson, who gets stood up right up the middle. Hollywood Henderson and Too Tall Jones on the stop there. In second quarter, after a 25-yard run from Emmitt Smith, Staubach goes to the air, and it's Tony Hill. Deep shot down the right-hand side, and the Cowboys would extend the lead 17-3. Big connection there as Hill gets behind Jason Sehorn. Giants would get down the field, though, late in the half before halftime. Collins drops back, stands into the end zone, and a huge touchdown there. That's Bob Tucker at the line, knocked out of the end zone, but they said he had possession in it. So the Giants come right down the field at the end of the half. Dallas had pretty much dominated the Giants to this point in the game, but this would start a switch in momentum, and it would start right away. Staubach drops back right before the half, looks over the middle. Surprised Dallas didn't just try to run it out there, but they figured they had all 3 of their timeouts actually left. They try to get down the field, think a possible field goal setup. Instead, Dick Lynch picks off Staubach, intended from Michael Irvin. So the Cowboys' aggressiveness kind of blows up in their face there. Lawrence Tynes would come on here. 4 seconds left in the half. 47-yard field goal attempt. It is up and good, and the Giants get 10 points in the final minute and a half of the half. And a half in which they had been dominated. 17-3 becomes 17-13 as we head into the tunnel. Cowboys open up the second half, though, trying to take momentum back, and it's a deep strike down the left side. Staubach just drops that one in for Lance Rentzel, who gets down inside the Giants' 30. The Giants would bear down here. They would limit the Cowboys to just a field goal here. So the Giants would get the ball back with the score, 20-13 down. They take over at their 34. We're now midway through the third quarter. Terry Collins in the shotgun, stands in, looks, fires over the middle, and it's complete. Big gain there. That's Frank Gifford down inside the 30. Gifford has kind of been a secondary player in this offense. Again, Gifford's the bulk of his career was before this project was really what the kind of line of demarcation is. So that's why Gifford probably a little bit underrated in the course of this project. He's kind of rated just on the end of his career. But he comes through with a big reception there. Giants get a field goal to make it 20-16. Giants would get back deep into Cowboys territory inside the 10, but on first down, a holding call would push the Giants back another 10 yards. David Deal would get whistled there. Giants would ultimately have to settle for a field goal, and it's a 1-point game. Later, now we are in the fourth quarter, midway through, still 20-19. Big completion down the right side from Collins to Del Schaffner along the sideline. Get down into Dallas territory, setting the stage for a potential go-ahead field goal attempt. Terrific grab there by Schopfer. Hines would come on again. He hit from 47 before the half. This is 44, and this kick is up and good. And the Giants, who trailed 17-3, now would hold a lead 22-20 beyond a raucous crowd here at Giants Stadium. 5:40 left in the game from their own 7. Staubach drops out. He's flush. He throws, and Landon Collins, with the interception for the Giants, brings it inside the 10. Collins would lose the ball, but it would be recovered by the Giants, and that would have been catastrophic for New York to get that pick and then lose it on the fumble. The Collins interception takes a big hit from Larry Allen there. The Giants recover. They have it on the Dallas doorstep, and they would kick the door in. Hand off there, fighting his way into the end zone. Ron Johnson takes it in to extend the Giants' lead, and just like that, it's a 2-score game. 29-20 Giants. Dallas would never threaten again. And the Giants, with a huge come-from-behind victory at home, take down the hated Cowboys at MetLife Stadium. Kerry Collins, very good day for New York. 22 of 33 for 315 and a score. The running game didn't have much. Joe Morris only 45 yards. Lawrence Hines, 5 for 5 on field goals on the day for New York. Despite the bad weather, and they weren't all chippy. You saw him bang, I think banged 3 from more than 40 yards there. The Giants, 16 unanswered points in the game. And they take it 29-20. Emmitt Smith, 85 yards rushing. Staubach, 18 of 30 for 303. Had the 2 touchdowns, but also the 2 interceptions, both of which proved costly. Dallas went only 1 for 4 in the red zone in getting any kind of points there. So Dallas's red zone issues continue. They fall to 1-1. Giants improve to 1-1. Dallas a date in Philadelphia next week. Giants will meet the Redskins. Keep the bad weather theme rolling, and we head out to Lambeau Field, where the Packers get their home opener, the torrential rain, after an impressive road win in Detroit. The Bears pulled off a huge upset in Week 1. Their defense looking terrific in taking down the Vikings to open the season. More rivalry matchup here in Week 2. Open up first quarter of a scoreless game. There's Bart Starr dropping back, trying to hit Max McGee. But Chicago's Tim Jennings steps in front to get the pick and put a halt to that drive. Bears would get good field position, but go 3 and out, and we would stay scoreless. Keep an eye on this Bears defense, though. They impressed an awful lot of people against the Vikings in Week 1. Early second quarter, 114 for the Bears and Bobby Douglas. His legs are more of an asset than his arms. He finds Johnny Morris along the sideline for the first down on a big conversion. Same drive, 3rd and long again, and now, this time, Douglas looks to use those legs, but a sensational play from Santana Dotson, here to get him around the ankle, trip him up. Bears would have to settle for a Paul Edinger field goal. It's 3-0 Chicago. Ryan Longwell would miss a 50-yard attempt at the end of the half to try and tie it. So it's 3-0 Bears. We head to the second half, third quarter, a little inside 9 minutes, and it's Douglas seeing the opening again. This time, nobody gets him. 9-yard scamper into the end zone. And the Bears would take a 10-0 lead, their defense building off that Week 1 performance against Minnesota. Packers would get on the board with a field goal to make it 10-3, and we'll pick it up in the final minute here of the third. 3rd and 9 for Green Bay. Barr changes things up at the line, and apparently the Bears were fooled because Max McGee gets free. Starr hits him for the big hitter, 79 yards for the score. And in a flash, we'd be tied at 10 at Lambeau. Great protection. Starr just stands firm and tall in the pocket, looks deep, hits McGee, and he's off to the races. midway through the fourth quarter, and while Chicago's offense had been good, their defense had been stagnant, and the Packers were feeling momentum. Starr hits his top target. It's James Lofton, another big hitter. This one 64 yards, and the Packers would take the lead 17-10. Two big plays would really do in the Bears in this one. Other than those two plays, they really did a terrific job limiting Green Bay. Starr comes up, the two deep shot. Bears ball deep in their own territory. Douglas drops back. Can't find anybody until Mike Douglas finds him. Sacked for the Pack, their fourth of the day, and that would pretty much spell the end. Packers get a field goal to make it 20-10. Late in the third, Bears would fail on a fourth down in their own end, and Starr would hit Jim Taylor out of the backfield, his third touchdown pass of the day. Longwell would actually miss the extra point, and we'd get to the final whistle with the Packers getting the 26-10 victory. Starr 19 of 32 for 306 and 3 scores. Did throw that early interception. Jennings, Taylor 22 for 76 on the ground. Bears contained him fairly well in that one. Ray Nitsch 15 tackles. Willie Davis, 2 of the Packers' 4 sacks. 2 in week 1 also. So Davis getting off to a terrific start. The Packers touchdown throws of 79 and 64 yards in a 5-minute stretch. That's the story in this one. Bobby Douglas, 10 of 21 for 134 and a pick. Gale Sayers, 25 carries for 47 yards. Sayers terrific a year ago, but Sayers averaging 2.2 yards a carry over the first 2 games. For the Bears to have any shot at sustained success this season, that is going to have to change. We'll head to the NFC South, where the Carolina Panthers visit the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Carolina, an OT winner over the Buccaneers at home in week 1. Saints fell to the Falcons in Atlanta. Always a dogfight in this division, the tightest in the league. A year ago, remember, we headed into the final week, all 4 teams had a shot at making the postseason. Panthers were the ones left on the outside looking in. Opening drive of the game, Saints down inside the 25. Drew Brees drops back and fires to his tight end, Henry Childs, in the back of the end zone. Childs has gotten a very good relationship with Brees in this Saints offense. Saints not considered to have a great receiving corps, so Childs blossoming has been key for New Orleans. Saints take a quick 7-0 lead. Later in the first, it's Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater drops back, looking to the right side, and that's DJ Moore getting free down inside the Saints 25. 27-yard completion, but the Panthers would have to settle for a field goal. 7-3 game. Defenses would rule the day for much of this one. Rich Zorro hit a second quarter field goal. 10-3 Saints would pick it back up in the third. And the Saints, deep in their own end, Brees drops back, is buried by Brenton Buckner, who draws the ball loose. Panthers recover. Will Witherspoon dives on it. The Panthers have it at the 12. But the Saints defense would stand up, and the Panthers would be turned aside, held to a field goal to make it a 10-6 game. There you see the third down effort there. An incomplete pass thrown out of the end zone. So that led to the field goal, 10-6 game. Saints would drive 12 plays. Second and goal, Brees gets sacked for a 10-yard loss. Derek Brown brings him down. New Orleans would settle for 3, and that would make it 13-6 New Orleans as we head into quarter number 4. We head early in the fourth quarter, and it's Teddy Bridgewater who would show his mobility here. Watches Bridgewater in the shotgun for Coach John Fox. Faces some pressure, gets flushed to the right. He's going to step wide, get around, look down the field, and wide open. Wide open. It's DJ Moore again. Down to the 7. Panthers banging on the door. Just a great job by Bridgewater showing that athleticism there. Rolling right. Not sure how Moore's coverage guy lost him there. The Panthers don't care about that. They'll take it. Pass. Deep into the back of the end zone. Well, not deep, they were close, but in the back of the end zone. Kelvin Benjamin, who was shut out in week 1. Benjamin with a nice diving grab here on the dart from Bridgewater. And that would knock the game up at 13 apiece. Midway through the fourth, Saints driving. We saw this connection earlier. It's Breeze finding Henry Childs again. 20-yard touchdown, their second hookup for 6, and the Saints would reclaim the lead. It's now 20-13 New Orleans. Late in the fourth quarter, 3 minutes left. Saints protecting the lead. Problem is, they failed to protect the ball. Breeze coughs it up again. Second time in his own 20 that Breeze has lost the ball, and again, the Panthers would recover. They settled for a field goal the first time. That wouldn't be the case this time around. Teddy Bridgewater from the 13 stands in, looks, and he wants his main target, and he finds him again. DJ Moore. Moore had a very, very good year 1, and he's off to a good start here in year 2. Moore makes the grab. Carolina would get the PAT from Joey Sly and tie this one up at 20. The Saints would go 3 and out on the following drive. Carolina would take over. 104 left from their own 21. Bridgewater steps up in the pocket here and fires on the move. Musa Muhammad out to midfield. Still 2 timeouts remaining for the Panthers. Joey Sly kicking into a net on the sideline, hoping for a shot at a game winner. But the drive would fizzle, and from the 45, they would just heave it up to end regulation. Here's the thing. It wouldn't just end regulation. It would end the game. On a jump ball in the end zone, DJ Moore in the crowd comes down with the grab. Touchdown Panthers, and Carolina, who won in overtime in week 1, win on the last play in regulation in week 2. A Hail Mary answers their prayers. The Panthers 2-0. New Orleans, the reigning division champ, falls to 0-2 in absolutely crushing action. Bridgewater, 25 of 36, 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. DJ Moore, 4 catches on the game, 2 touchdowns, 122 yards on the day from Moore. Buckner, and that's actually a mistake. Buckner forced 2 fumbles. I thought Buckner had forced that second one. The second one was actually credited to Lamar Lathan, so I apologize for that. Buckner forces one, Lathan forces the other. The Breeze, 2 fumbles lost inside his own 20. And those are just mistakes that can't be made, because you look at Breeze's numbers other than that. 16 of 20 for 162 and 2 scores. Breeze did a very good job throughout the day, other than those 2 turnovers. Those 2 turnovers proved to be the difference in the game. Panthers win 26-20. Next, we get out to another division that is always a dogfight, the AFC West, where the San Diego Chargers visit the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, a terrific job taking down the Broncos in week 1. The Chargers, a disappointing defeat to the Raiders in week 1. Every matchup in this division is hugely key, especially under the new format where only division winners are guaranteed a playoff spot. There will only be 1 wild card in each conference. But this division is going to be knocked down, drag out even more so than it was a year ago. Let's head out to Kansas City, a pair of really strong defenses doing battle here. Opening drive, 3rd and 1, Chiefs in Chargers territory. Priest Holmes gets gobbled up, and that would bring up 4th and inches. And Andy Reid, expecting to be down there several more times in the game, would elect to go for it. That's just a punishing shot on Holmes. Instead of pounding it again, though, DeBerg looks for the quick hit to wide out Chris Burford. He overthrows him, and the Chiefs would come out of the drive with nothing. early second quarter, an 18-play, 84-yard drive. Teams seem like they're going to settle for three. Instead, they go for the fake, but it's incomplete from the one. Al Dixon hits him right in the hands. Dixon can't hold on, and the Chargers with the stand. Keep it 0-0 here in Kansas City. 3rd and 3. Still a scoreless game. Chiefs with the ball again. Berg looks here for a quick cutting Travis Kelce, but throws it behind him. And Mike Williams pulls it in for the interception. That is a poor throw there from DeBerg. He had Kelce just on the quick slant, and he just threw it behind him. Not sure if there was a timing play, something got thrown off or whatever there. But in the end, Chargers take over right around midfield. First play for the Chargers from there, 23 yards from Tobin Rote to Dave Kosarik to get them down inside the 30. The Chargers would settle for a 29-yard Rolf Benirschke field goal to break the scoreless tie, and the Chargers would take a 3-0 lead. Harrison Butker would miss a 58-yard attempt at the halftime whistle, and we would stay 3-0 entering the second half. So early in the second half, here's Rote dropping back. He's going to look for his favorite target, the league's leading receiver a year ago, Wes Chandler, who reels this one in for a big 43-yard pickup. Chargers, though, would stall out, and Rolf Benirschke would miss from 42 yards out. So 3-0, we'd still stay again. Chiefs in business here early in the fourth. It's still 3-0 Chargers. Holmes blows through the middle for 10, but a holding call on Al Dixon, who dropped the fake field goal in the end zone early. So instead of 1st and 10 from the Chargers 20, Chiefs would have 3rd and 11 from the 40. Berg in the gun. He's going to look out of the backfield for Larry Johnson. Johnson will go wide. He'll freeze, break inside. Berg will hit Johnson in the hand, and Johnson drops it. Second big drop for the Chiefs in this one. Self-inflicted wounds driving Andy Reid insane on the Chiefs sideline. Chargers ball after a Chargers holding penalty, 1st and 20 from their 33. And Rote drops back looking for Big Willie Frazier. 29-yard reception to get the Chargers in Kansas City territory, trying to make it a 2-score game. That's a nice pitch and catch there from Rote to Frazier. Next play is the rookie running back, Paul Lowe, who tears off a run with the line opening a gaping hole up the middle. 17 yards, and the Chargers offense now rolling along on back-to-back plays. That would set up this one. Rote drops back. He hit Frazier earlier in the drive. Now it's Dave Kosarik, the other tight end. 20-yard time from Rote for the score, and the Chargers would take a 10-0 lead. Check this one out. This is about as good a throw as you're going to see. Tobin Rote puts this in an absolutely perfect spot for Kosarik, who is covered tightly there. But the throw right on the money. Kosarik makes the end zone. 10-0 San Diego. Final 2 minutes, Chiefs clinging to life, driving into San Diego territory. DeBerg, 6 of 7 on the drive to this point, looks to the end zone, and it's Williams picking him for the second time to seal the shutout for the Chargers in an exceptional performance, particularly considering their vaunted defensive line didn't pick up a sack in the course of the game. This was just a stellar effort by the Chargers, particularly in the linebacking core. Their run support, they limited Priest Holmes, 22 carries for 63 yards. Burns, 33 of 48, 281. Certainly looked like decent numbers. But a pair of interceptions, 0 for 2 on 4th downs in San Diego territory. Key to this one in the loss for the Chiefs. Tobin Rote efficient in this one, 15 of 24, 184. Chiefs defense played terrifically again, as they tend to. Lowe, 24 carries for 65 yards. That's not even 3 yards a carry. Wes Chandler limited to 3 catches for 57. And again, the Chargers had no sacks. They were third in the league in sacks a year ago. No sacks in this one. And that's a great job by a Chiefs offensive line, where Steve DeBerg has certainly faced a lot of pressure in year one. He took a lot of hits. This Chiefs offensive line in pass protection has drawn a lot of criticism. They did a great job against the Chargers in this one. But the Chargers defense held the Chiefs completely in check. 10-0 San Diego. Huge win for the Chargers. Next, it's the AFC, the Jets and the Patriots. From Foxborough, the Jets were comeback winners in Week 1 against the Dolphins. They trailed 13-0. Entering the fourth quarter, they'd scored 14 straight points for the comeback Week 1 victory. Patriots fell to the Bills in Buffalo, stopped twice on the goal line, and a questionable decision late by Coach Raymond Berry to pass on a chip shot field goal doomed them as the Bills emerged victorious. So a big game here. Both teams, Jets would love to start 2-0. Again, the Jets came back last season, had a good finish to the season after a very disappointing start. Patriots, tough to beat at home. Patriots will go 3-and-out on their opening drive. Jets take over and take flight quickly. Ken O'Brien drops back. Jets run double corners with Schuler and Coles. And it's Mickey Schuler, the tight end, who grabs it in stride. 59-yard touchdown, and the Jets would take a quick 7-0 lead. That flight, however, would be grounded, and grounded quickly. Ensuing kickoff, and it's David Patton who takes it out of the end zone, finds a seam, and he is off to the races. 103 yards to the house, and the Patriots strike right back. Patton goes 103 for the score, but John Smith, who missed a key field goal in Week 1, would miss the extra point here, and the Jets would maintain a 7-6 lead. The teams would trade quick 3-and-outs, but it wouldn't be long for more points. Here O'Brien drops back. It's Dante Hightower from the Patriots, straight up the chute. And Hightower hammers O'Brien, who coughs it up. The ball gets kicked forward into the scrum, but Teddy Bruschi, great awareness, dives on it, and the Pats would take over. There you see, that is a free run from Hightower, and the ball shoots right towards Bruschi, who sees it on the floor, dives on it, and the Patriots would take over. Great position. They'd be in better position momentarily. Rob Gronkowski kept in check in Week 1, but Brady finds him here in the end zone, and the Patriots would take the lead. Smith would hit this PA and make it a 13-7 ball game. Lots of quick scoring, but it would be the defenses taking over from there. Early second quarter, O'Brien drops back, and it's Richard Seymour breaking through. Great coverage downfield. Seymour hammers O'Brien. Debatable call here. Could have been ruled a fumble, it seems. Check out the replay here. It would go as a sack. The Jets would be able to punt it away and keep the score 13-7. It's hard to believe that that's either not an incomplete pass or a fumble. But the Jets would get pressure on Brady as well, led by this man, Larry Grantham, who had a breakout game here. 3 sacks for Grantham, who had 5.5 all season in year 1. So both defenses were tightening up. We head to half still 13-7. It would stay that way into the fourth. One play into the fourth quarter. When first and goal from the 1, it's Kevin Falk, a great game in Week 1. The Jets did a very good job against him here in Week 2, but he finds the end zone from a yard out for the score. Patriots would hit a 2-point conversion as well. And just like that, it's 21-7 New England in the driver's seat in Foxborough. New York would march back down the field, get inside the New England 10. First and goal from the 8, and O'Brien would get flushed out of the pocket. But Brent Williams would hit him and force it loose. Vince Wilfork would fall on it, and the Jets' drive would get snuffed out on O'Brien's second fumble on the game. Similar to what we saw in that Panthers-Saints game, Drew Brees, solid day, but the 2 fumbles lost. Ken O'Brien suffers the same fate. Patriots would go down the field, John Smith would hit a field goal to make it 24-7. Inside 3 minutes left, seems the game is well in hand for New England. But three straight completions to Wesley Walker for more than 50 yards, total obviously, get the Jets to the New England 13, and here's O'Brien to Walker. Again, touchdown Jets. It's a 10-point game, 24-14. The Jets would line up for the onside kick, and they would recover. Not dead yet. The Jets, who rallied from 13 down in the fourth against Miami, would try to turn the trick again here in Foxborough to get down the field with a fourth down situation, down by 10. A week ago, New England was in this situation, and Raymond Berry elected to go for it instead of take the field goal, and it blew up in his face. Jets up for the field goal there. They try the second onside kick, but this one is gobbled up. Jim Colclough holds on to it, and the Patriots hold on to the 24-17 victory. 13 of 20 for 143 yards and the score. Patriots really tried to grind this out on the ground. 27 carries for Kevin Falk, despite only getting the 62 yards. He did have the 1-yard touchdown. Still surprised that the Patriots are not providing their carries a little bit more. Jim Nantz, Sam Cunningham, Don Calhoun all in the backfield as well, but Falk has carried the load. And here, he had a great week in week one. There he's averaging 2 yards and change per carry. So a little bit surprised the Patriots didn't mix it up a little bit more on the ground. The Patriots only had 11 first downs in the game. Big kick return from David Patton. Huge for New England in this one. O'Brien, 21 of 42 for 290 and a pair of touchdowns. Bilal Powell, 13 carries for 71 yards. Curtis Martin was hurt early in this game. He did come back late. He had 11 carries on the day. Powell ended up doing the bulk of it. Wesley Walker, terrific job for him. 7 catches, 154 yards, and a score. And Larry Grantham, again, breakout performance. 3 sacks, 17 tackles. Grantham just was all over the place in this one. Again, 5.5 sacks a year ago. 3 sacks, more than half that total here in week 2, but in losing effort. Houston Texans have yet to win a game in FSFL history. 0-18, 0-17 a year ago. They lost their first one here in year 2, and the odds strongly indicate that visiting the defending champion Oilers in Tennessee is unlikely to change that. That's why we play the game, right? That thought of miracles happen dissipated quickly. After the Texans punted on their opening possession, first play of scrimmage for the Oilers, and it's George Blanda finding Charlie Hennigan down the left side, a 40-yard completion, and the Oilers right off the bat into Texans territory, and away we go. The Oilers' running game would be felt early as well. Here's Big Earl Campbell, who would have a huge day for the Oilers. He gets outside, gets a block, runs over a defender, 18 yards, and just like that, the Oilers are down inside the 10. That would lead to this, 2 yards out, and it's not Campbell, it's not Henry, it's Hoyle Granger, who dives in for the score. And a little more than 5 minutes in, the Oilers are on top, 7-0. 3 and out go the Texans. Oilers have it on their second drive. It's 4th and 1. They elect to go for it, and surprisingly, they throw it to Campbell, who shoulder rolls one defender. Another one bounces off of him, and away he goes. Earl Campbell, 44 yards for the score, receiving out of the backfield. And the Oilers would be up 14-0, and it would not get any better for the Texans as this one would go forward. Look at this from Campbell. I'm going to replay that. Somebody goes for the big hit from the back there. You're not going to get Earl Campbell that way. Campbell with the big reception. Again, we'll get his total yardage at the end of this game. Massive day for Earl Campbell. Pass there over the middle. He takes a shot on the goal line, but he holds on. Ruled a touchdown. They would review the spot he got across the goal line, 21-0. Final minute of the half, Texans have a little something going. Maybe can get points before halftime. Ray Childress squashes that. Hoyer is sacked. Time expires. 21-0 at the half. Oilers would open the third with another TD drive. Texans would never threaten, and the Oilers would roll 31-0 to improve to 2-0. Landa, 21 of 29 for 236, 3 touchdowns. He was picked off twice, but the story of this one, Earl Campbell, 29 carries for an FSFL record, 232 yards on the ground. He also had the 44-yard touchdown reception, so more than 270 yards of total offense for Earl Campbell. Campbell took a while to get going last year, and he had a fine season, but the Oilers didn't really utilize him as heavily as they should in the early going. He is off to a flying start here in year 2. Ray Childress, a pair of sacks. Texans now 0-19 in FSFL history. They are really, really bad. Brian Hoyer, 18 of 36 for 161. Dominic Williams, 15 carries for 37 yards. If he can't run the ball, this Texans offense is just completely dead in the water. 9 first downs on the game. Texans just brutal. The Oilers stay unbeaten. Next, we head to Buffalo, where the Bills come off a big win over the Patriots, who figure to be their toughest challenge in the division, while the Dolphins blew a 13-0 fourth quarter lead against the Jets in a 14-13 defeat. Missed extra point by Garo Yepremian, hugely costly in that one. Yepremian, the least of the Dolphins' problems. Picked things up here early in the second quarter. Bills with a 3-0 lead on the 39-yard Scott Norwood field. Second and goal from the 6. Joe Ferguson sees an opening, tucks and runs in a great effort here to fight his way in for that last yard and 6 points. Norwood would bang home the extra point, and the Bills would take a 10-0 lead. Miami could do nothing. 4 straight 3-and-outs at one point. Late first half in their own end. Tagovailoa can't find a receiver. Pressure from the backside, just throws it away to avoid the sack. That would set up Norwood from the right hash, 50 yards out. He would drill this one, plenty to spare for a guy who 50 is considered right around his limit. 13-0 Bills at the half. That's how it would stay until the fourth. Garo Yepremian would miss a 39-yard attempt in the third. That was as close as the Dolphins would come to scoring. Ferguson here midway through the fourth, as he did earlier, finds an opening in front of him, dashes through to blow it open. 2-point conversion would fail, and that would get us to 19-0 Bills. In the fourth, Tagovailoa trying to get them down the field and at least erase the 0. Instead, Bruce Smith erases Tagovailoa. 78 blows off the line and just crushes Tagovailoa from the backside for the sack. Smith, third in the league in sacks a year ago. He was a little slow to get going last year. No such issues here. Next play, fourth down, need to go for it, and all that brings is misery. Ted Washington hammers Tagovailoa, who loses the ball, and Williams pumps it up and takes it 39 yards for the score. Bills would go up 26-0. They'd pick up a late safety as well. And the Bills with a dominant performance shut out Miami. 6 straight scoreless quarters now for Don Shula's Dolphins. They have to find a way to get something going. If Mercury Morris cannot run the ball, the Dolphins are in deep, deep trouble. They do not have the receiving core to build any kind of passing game, really. J.C. Tagovailoa, 9 of 20, 84 yards. That's exceptionally low. But even so, their passing game just is not a strength. Morris, 16 for 65, and once they got down by big numbers, running game was just kind of empty. John Offerdahl, great game defensively, but the Dolphins, Offerdahl had 16 tackles, 3 for a loss, 1 pass defended for the rookie linebacker, but 7 first downs for the Dolphins offense. O.J. Simpson, 33 carries for 127, Ferguson, 18 of 24 for 175, and 2 touchdowns rushing for Joe Ferguson. Not super mobile, but he sees the opening there in those short yardage situations near the goal line, finds his way in. Again, the Dolphins haven't scored in 6 quarters. Don Shula and that offense have a lot of work to do. Next, we head down to Florida, Jacksonville to be specific, where the Colts visit the Jaguars. The Colts upended by the Oilers in a good contest in Week 1, while the Jaguars rolled over the hapless Houston Texans. Figured that the Colts would offer a bit more resistance this week to the Jaguars than the Texans did. Let's get things going from Jacksonville. Opening drive, Colts start, and they get a big run here. Lydell Mitchell gets to the outside. Mitchell, a strong week in Week 1, starts off here 25 yards right off the bat, deep into Jacksonville territory, and the Colts are off and running, literally. Down near the goal line now, 3rd and 1. Mitchell tries to get outside, but Jacksonville able to stop him. Colts hang on the door. They can't get it open, and they'd have to settle for a Mike Vanderjagt chip shot, 19 yards officially, and it's 3-0 Colts out of the gate. Jags would put together a 10-play drive that would end in a Mike Hollis field goal, game tied at 3 at the end of the half. Late in the second quarter, Colts have a 6-3 lead in a field goal battle. Lawrence drops back under heavy pressure. Rookie Mike Barnes drills him as he throws. Robert Mathis kicks it out of the air for the interception, and the Colts would take over. There you see Barnes hammers Lawrence. That ball kind of pops up in the air, and Mathis, usually the one doing the sacking, gets the interception here instead. Colts would get down the field, and here's Burt Jones looking deep, nothing downfield. He rolls left, sees space, and takes off. First down and more. 16 yards. Vanderjagt would hit another field goal at the end of the half. It's 9-3 Colts. Midway through the third quarter, still 9-3. Jones looks left side. Willie Richardson, 25-yard completion. Jones, the second-rated passer in the AFC last season, off to a great start this year, and he'd cap off the drive this way. Rolling right, 17-yard strike to Roger Carr for the score. They'd convert the 2-point conversion and take a 17-3 lead. Jags could just never get anything going on the day. Fourth quarter, Lawrence drops back, and again it's pressure up the middle. This time it's Fred Miller picking up the sack. 3 sacks for the Colts on the day. Lawrence just never had any time to do anything. Took a lot of shots other than the sack. Late fourth quarter, it's Jones again. Second TD pass of the day. This time it's his tight end, Ken Dilger. Gets open, Jones hits him for the score. 24-3 Indy. Colts would tack on a field goal in the waning moments to make it 27-3, a dominant performance by the Colts, and a big step up in class for the Jags from the Texans a week prior. Take a look at the final numbers. Burt Jones, 24 of 30 for 242 and a pair of scores. Lydell Mitchell, 27 carries for 142 yards. Barnes and Miller each had 1.5 sacks for those 3 sacks by the Colts. Mike Vanderjagt, 4 for 4 on field goals. He's now a perfect 7 for 7 on the season. For the Jaguars, Lawrence, 16 of 25, only 119 yards, less than 5 yards per attempt. Had that interception as well. James Robinson, 13 carries, 60 yards. Fred Taylor went down with an injury during the second quarter. We'll see what his status is going forward. The man, nicknamed Fragile Fred, was fairly durable in year 1, actually. Exited this one, and we'll see what his status is going forward. 184 yards in total offense for the Jaguars. That is not going to get it done. Next to the NFC South we go, a barn burner earlier with the Panthers and the Saints, and we'd get more of the same here in Tampa. Falcons and Buccaneers in the rain, in the slop in Florida. Let's get to it. This quarter, Buccaneers with a good drive here, and it's Jameis Winston. Winston under pressure, rolls right, fires to the back of the end zone, and it's Gerald Carter who makes the grab, keeps his feet in bounds, and the Bucs strike first. It's 7-0 Tampa. Great athleticism here by Winston. Winston would have a very solid game for the Bucs, and these are the kind of plays that the Buccaneers need out of Winston. Good connection there on their opening drive. Falcons come back down the field later in the quarter. Matt Ryan at the helm for Atlanta, drops back, looks over the middle, and he hits Alfred Jenkins' 21-yard pickup down inside the 10. But the drive would stall out. Falcons would have to settle for a Younghoe Koo field goal to make it 7-3. Early in the second quarter, into the ground we go, and it's Michael Turner. Turner the burner tearing this one off. Big run down into Tampa territory, down inside the 20. Turner would have a huge day for the Falcons, but another drive would stall out deep in Tampa territory. And this time, Koo would miss the field goal attempt, and it would remain a 7-3 game. In the first half, Bucs now up 10-3. Falcons trying to get down the field for points before the half. And it's Ryan to Michael Haynes. This is a nice crop of receivers for Atlanta. Jenkins, Haynes, Roddy White. Ryan has a host of weapons. Here is Haynes out to the 45. Inside 30 seconds. And now it's Ryan looking back for Jenkins. Again, over the middle, 18-yard pickup. Coach Mike Smith with a timeout in his pocket and Koo kicking into a net on the sideline, elects not to take the timeout and run the hurry up instead, trying to catch the Bucs a bit off guard, perhaps influenced by Koo's prior missed field goal heading this way in the slot. But the decision works. Ryan for the corner of the end zone to Roddy White. He takes a shot from Rondé Barber, but holds on, and the Falcons tie the game at 10, heading into halftime. You can only imagine the sports radio consternation if this had not worked. But it works and the Falcons get it level. Opening drive of the third quarter, the rain continues. Bucs are undeterred about going to the air. Winston unleashes a deep ball down the right side, and it's Lawrence Dawsey who reels it in. 51-yard strike. Marcus Trufant pops it to no avail. Touchdown Tampa, 17-10. After that kick in the mouth to close out the half, a big play there for the Bucs. Still 17-10. It's now early in the fourth quarter, and this afternoon contest becomes primetime contest. Deion Sanders takes the punt, starts up the middle, sees a sliver of daylight to get to the outside, and away he goes. 66 yards for Sanders, his first return for the score of the season. It's only week 2, but he's Deion. You kind of expect it frequently. And there's his first of the new campaign, 66 yards for Deion. And the Falcons get it level, 17-17. Ensuing drive, and it's Winston again. His third touchdown of the day, slant over the middle to Dawsey for their second hooked up for points. And the Bucs regain the lead in what is becoming a wild one in the rain here in Tampa, 24-17. Buccaneers home crowd back on their collective feet. That wouldn't last long though. Final 2 minutes, Buccaneers, after standing them up 3 times inside the 5, 4th down and goal from the 3, and it's Turner who runs for a hole that isn't there, but he keeps the legs churning, pops it over one gap, and finds a hole into the end zone. Falcons tie the game again, 24-24 in the waning moments. No time for Tampa to get down the field, though. They get a shot. Michael Usted from 46 and the potential game winner, and the look on his face says it all. Hooked wide, we head to overtime. Falcons ball after Tampa couldn't score on their first shot. Ryan hits Jenkins here to get into field goal range down to the 33. But remember, Koo missed the field goal earlier in the game, heading this way. So the Falcons ideally wouldn't force him to try from 50 in conditions that had only gotten worse since that point. Get a hand from Michael Turner. Again, Turner just a terrific game for the Falcons, his best game in FSFL history. He gets down inside the 20 here for a more manageable shot. A 35-yard attempt Briscoe comes on in the mud patch, doesn't care. It through the upright, and the Falcons get a huge comeback win for a 27-24 overtime victory. Huge game for Turner, 23 carries, 188 yards on the ground, and a score. He broke two big rushes in this one of which you saw there. Matt Ryan, 30 of 53 for 298 and a touchdown. Alfred Jenkins, 9 catches for 128 yards. Again, the big punt return from Deion Sanders certainly helped. Go with the field goal in overtime to win it. On the Bucs side, Jameis Winston, 23 of 48, so he was below 50% completion percentage. And a few very athletic plays, a few big strikes, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, and most importantly for Winston, avoiding the turnover, no interceptions to Jameis. Wilder, 18 carries for 64. Dawsey, 4 catches for 89 and a pair of touchdowns. Hardy Nickerson was everywhere in this one. 20 tackles and a pass defense for Nickerson, who just brings it every single week. Always one of the more underrated linebackers in NFL history. I always feel like Nickerson's a terrific player. Simeon Rice, 1.5 sacks for Tampa. The Falcons pull off the victory, 27-24. Head back to the NFC East for a battle in the rain that ravaged much of the East Coast. Here in Week 2, the rain falling in Washington, D.C. as the Eagles meet the Redskins. Would the weather slow down the Eagles' attack and Jalen Hurts? We'll find out as we head into Washington. Weather like this is made for John Riggins. First play from scrimmage and end zone view here as Riggins fights his way outside and barrels down the field. Big opening rush for Ringo into Eagles territory. First down Washington and more as Washington's on the move early. Washington would get down inside the 10. 3rd and goal, and it's Jason Campbell dropping back to pass, but he's drilled by William Thomas and Reggie White for the sack. This Eagles defense, very, very tough across the board. Good job there. They would hold Washington to a field goal, and it would be 3-0 Redskins. Eagles ball here, still 3-0 Washington, and it's not LaShawn McCoy, but Wilbert Montgomery, who has been very effective as the secondary back for Philly. He runs his way down inside the 30 to the 25 here. But the Eagles' drive would get stopped in its tracks as well, and Sam Baker would hit from 41 yards out to tie the game at 3. Early second quarter, here's Campbell. His athleticism was huge last year when he was the most surprising offensive player in the league. A solid year, and plays like this are why. Campbell flushed out of the pocket, rolls to his left, throws on the move, and hits Chris Cooley to get down into Eagles territory. But Washington would come away empty on this drive, though, and that would grow to be a theme over the course of the game. We'd stay tied at 3. The Eagles' defense is relentless, as we mentioned, and they got help this season as rookie Hugh Douglas joins an already pointed D. Campbell tries to roll away right this time, but Douglas won't let him escape. Late in the half, Eagles trying to halt Washington and get the ball back. They get the sack here from Douglas, and that would be followed up by this play. Corey Simon gets to Campbell. 4 sacks on the day for Philly. Campbell would use his legs a lot in this one, not always by his own accord. Back-to-back sacks would give the Eagles great field position to get in range for Sam Baker. Not the best of legs, but he gets enough of this one to put it through from 46 and send Philly into the tunnel with a 6-3 time lead. The opening drive of the third quarter featured a heavy dose of this man, LaShawn McCoy. A great opening week. He'd continue that in this one, 24 yards, bringing this one down to the 1-yard line. After a loss and 1st and goal, Montgomery would take this one off tackle left, pull his way into the end zone for the game's first touchdown, and it's now 13-3 Eagles. Washington would put a solid drive together here in a game where they didn't have many. 3rd and 2 from the Philly 23, and it's rookie Terry Allen who gets introduced to the Eagles defense, stopped short. 4th and inches coming up. Rather than go for it, George Allen would opt for the field goal that gets them back within a touchdown at 13-6. Late in the 3rd, and it's Hurts, who had a very rough day at the office throwing the ball in this one. Just can never make connection, get the offense in sync. Looking for Pete Retzlaff, but it's Mark Murphy, who reads it perfectly, picks it off. Throw out a bit ahead of Retzlaff, and the Redskins would force the turnover there, desperate to try to get down the field and put one into the end zone. Washington would go 3 and out, and at 13-6 we'd stay. Inside 2 minutes left, 3rd and 6, and it's Hurts. 10 of 24 throwing on the day, but he uses his legs here. 3rd and 6, Redskins looking to get it back, but Hurts keeps it on the option, fakes off, brings it down inside the 15. That would pretty much wrap it up. Baker would put one more through the uprights to cap this drive, and the Eagles would grind out a 16 win in Washington. Hurts 10 of 24 throwing the ball, only 120 yards and a pick. LaShawn McCoy 26 carries, 144 yards. He would fumble twice, which is uncharacteristic of McCoy. And one of the things that helped keep the Redskins in this a bit, Washington only 7 first downs on the day. Campbell 9 of 14, 116 yards, a good total for the 14 attempts. Higgins 22 carries, 69 yards. Just nothing ever really got going for that Washington offense. The Eagles had more than 10 minutes of time of possession advantage in this one. 242 combined yards rushing. So the Eagles playing to the elements a bit with McCoy and Montgomery. Hurts did a bit with his legs. You saw on that last play there. Certainly not the game he had in week 1, but enough for the Eagles to take the victory and improve to 2-0. Then out for an NFC West matchup here, the Cardinals and Rams. Cardinals an impressive week 1 win over the Seahawks, while the Rams battled but fell short against the reigning NFC champion 49ers. Cardinals defense looked really solid in week 1, the second most points allowed in the league a year ago. The high-powered Rams offense would be a much bigger test. Let's get out to the action. A pair of first quarter field goals would put the Cardinals up 6-0. We'll pick this one up early in the second. Cardinals ball deep in their own end, and it's Jim Hart dropping back. Questionable call here. Guards pull like it's a screen, a bad spot for that play unless it's real quick, and this one wasn't. Marco Farr gets a free shot at Hart, who has no time to react, and it's a safety that gets the Rams on the board to make it an unusual 6-2 score. Rams would do nothing after the ensuing punt, and the Cardinals would be again deep in their own end. Bruce Arians' offense likes going down the field. With that comes risk. Hart looks here, but all he finds is Todd Light, who picks it off for the Rams. Intended for Ernie Jones. That's a poor throw here from Hart. That was well off the mark. Light makes the grab. 3rd and 4 from the Cardinals 10. Kurt Warner trying to get them into the end zone, but the rookie, Aeneas Williams, comes up here with a big tip away to prevent a touchdown. Rams would settle for a 26-yard Mike Lansford field goal, and it would be a 6-5 game. Rams would get 3 more in their following drive. 30 seconds left in the half. What is now an 8-6 Rams lead. Hart again looks for Jones, and this time he finds him. Strike down the sideline. Jones is off to the races. 57-yard touchdown with 16 seconds left in the half. The Cardinals would head to the locker room with a 13-8 lead and momentum on their side. An absolute dagger for the Rams there, allowing that score shortly before the end of the half. Never want to go into the tunnel allowing something like that. The Cardinals would receive to start the second half, opening drive, and Hart finds Ricky Prohl, who dashes down inside the Rams 40 to the 37. Next play, let's look to the left side this time, and it's J.T. Smith, who will lay out here for a terrific grab on a ball slightly overthrown by Hart. Cardinals down to the 15 and threatening. The Rams defense would stand up this time. Cardinals would get A Jay Feely field goal to extend the lead to 8, but it's still a one-score game. Little more than 3 minutes left in the third. Harold Jackson, a sensational game in week 1. Warner finds him down the left-hand side, 24 yards, down inside the 15, and the Rams, once again, are threatening. Would set up this second and goal from the 1, and it's Wes Josephson who finds his way to pay dirt for 6. However, the 2-point conversion would fail, and the Cardinals would keep hold of the lead 16-14. Cardinals with the ball back, and again looking downfield. Hart finds Smith wide open here, a blown assignment by all appearances. 39-yard pickup, and the Cardinals are on the move again. Second and goal coming up from the 6. Hart in the shotgun, but the Rams defense comes through again. Rookie Aaron Donald beats his man, gets to Hart for the sack. Donald is going to be a force for a defense that already has Farr and Coy Bacon as guys who can pressure the quarterback. Aaron Donald is going to be absolute chaos for opposing offenses here in the Franchise Stars Football League. Cardinals would again settle for 3, and after a 3-and-out by the Rams, tack on another Feely field goal. So we pick it up, final minute of the 4th, 8-point game, first and goal for the Rams. Warner sacked on first down on the corner blitz. Second down comes up here now. Now at the 7. Warner drops back. He looks a quick little tight end shot into the flat. Willie Truex is brought down quickly. He picks up 3. That would get them down to the 4. But that would bring up a third and goal. Warner drops back again, looks to the back of the end zone. Looking for Harold Jackson. He tries to thread the needle, but he misses the mark. And that would bring up 4th and goal. Warner looking to the right side, game on the line here. He fires Henry Ellard, but Aeneas Williams in coverage, incomplete pass, and the Cardinals. Warner unable to connect. The Rams turned aside on a goal line stand, and the Cardinals win it 22-14. Seahawks offense can be a bit shaky, but this is a big stand by the Cardinals defense. Cardinals allowed 28 points a game in year 1. Cardinals are allowing 18.5 through the first 2 weeks here of year 2. They, of course, will get a big test next week against the 49ers. Jim Hart, 21 of 33 for 317, a touchdown. He did throw the bad interception. Rookie Otis Anderson, terrific debut last week against Seattle. He only had 51 yards rushing on 20 carries in this one. DJ Jr., we didn't show him in the highlights. DJ Jr., a terrific game here for the Cardinals. 13 tackles, 2 for a loss. He had a sack, he had 2 passes defensed, and he forced a fumble. Sensational game by Jr. Aeneas Williams, 11 tackles, pass defense. You saw they knocked away in the end zone earlier on in the game, and then the tight coverage there on Ellard prevents Warner from being able to make the hookup. Warner, 22 of 40, 255 yards passing with no touchdown. Touching 18 for 69. Harold Jackson continues to be Warner's favorite target. Torrey Holt approached the 100-yard receiving mark as well in this one. But the Cardinals pull off the victory on the road in LA with another very strong performance, 22-14. We're talking about the test the Cardinals defense faces next week. Let's go take a look at it. We head to San Francisco. 49ers hosting the Seahawks. Seahawks trying to bounce back from that loss to the Cardinals. Reigning NFC champions, 49ers, looking to get off to a 2-0 start. We will start with the opening drive. It doesn't take long for San Francisco to show their might. Floater toward the sideline in the end zone. John Brody finds Dwight Clark, 23-yard strike. That's a terrific grab by Clark. And very quickly, it is 7-0 49ers. Don't forget about the 49ers defense. John Kitna drops back. He's under pressure, and it's Charles Haley. Tracks him down. Kitna and the Seahawks offense have struggled mightily in the FSFL so far, and pressure has been a big reason why. Haley breaks through here for the sack. Kitna can't get away, looking for help. Kitna looks to the sideline. Somebody do something to help him out. Next drive for Seattle, and Kitna gets some help from the ground game. Rookie Marshawn Lynch breaks this one all the way down inside the 49ers 40-yard line, 38-yard run there. Lynch impressing early in his career over these first 2 weeks. He would have a few good carries in this game for Seattle as the Seahawks try to get the ground game going and maybe slow down the 49ers, just keeping them off the field a bit. That run by Lynch would set up this. Kitna, Mike Pritchard for the score, back of the end zone. But Todd Peterson would miss the extra point, and the Seahawks unable to get level, trail 7-6. This 49ers offense doesn't need much time to strike, and strike they do. Gene Washington, with all the talk about Jerry Rice, and deservedly so, obviously, Washington can get lost in the shuffle a bit until he burns you with plays like this. 72 yards from John Brody, Washington sprints into the end zone, and San Francisco opens it up. It's now 14-6-9. We head to the second quarter, and it's Brody to Washington again. 22 yards out, a throw from John Brody. 49ers attack just loaded with weapons, and the lead grows. It's now 21-6 San Francisco. Look here at this toss from Brody. There's decent coverage out there. Washington gets the step, and that's pretty much all he needs. Dropped perfectly in by Brody. Beautiful play there. 21-6, final minute of the half. And oh yeah, they have this guy too. Jerry Rice catches the post from Brody, runs to daylight. No one's going to get him. 55 yards, and it is all 49ers. Kyle Shanahan's offense rolling. 28-6. Seattle just overwhelmed in this one, and it wouldn't stop there. Third quarter we head, and the defense gets in on the act. Then drops back, looking left with lots of ground to make up, and the road gets much longer. Herman Alexander, pick six, streaks down the sideline. Pass intended for DK Metcalf, but very much underthrown by Kitna. Alexander catches it on the dead run, sprints down the sideline for the score, and it is now 38-6 San Francisco. Late third quarter, not many highlights for the Seahawks, so we'll give them one here. Big play of their own, coverage mismatch here for San Francisco. Linebacker Matt Hazeltine ends up isolated with Metcalf. Kitna picks it up, sends Metcalf deep, 71 yards, and the Seahawks with one of their rare positive plays of the day. San Francisco would extend the lead 45-13 on a Frank Gore touchdown run, and then the defense would do it again. Kitna gets his pocket picked by Eric Wright, 27 yards for the second pick six of the game. The Niners blow out the Seahawks in San Francisco 52-13. San Francisco just blows the doors off in this one. John Brody, 30 of 41, 468, 4 touchdowns. That is what awaits the Cardinals defense. Frank Gore, 19 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. Rice, 13 catches. He only had a couple of catches in week one. He had a touchdown in that one. He only had a couple of catches in that game. I believe he had 3, actually. 13 catches here for 169 and a score. In Washington, 6 catches for 154 yards and a pair of scores. Seattle had 10 first downs. It went 1 for 11 on third down in the course of this game. John Kitna threw 2 touchdowns, but 2 picks as well. Marshawn Lynch, 84 yards on only 14 carries. They just had to go away from the run once the deficit got too big. Seahawks have some issues that they've got to overcome. Expecting a knockdown, drag-out battle here. Ravens came up short against the Bengals in the opening week. Tony Banks was solid on the whole, but he threw 2 interceptions in the end zone to kill drives and kill the Ravens' hopes of victory. That offset any of the positives. Cleveland won the game of the week, a 37-35 shootout, unexpectedly a shootout, in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. We head to the dog pound, Ravens and Browns first quarter, and Jim Brown, who was neutralized by the Steelers in week one, only 26 yards on the game, gets 31 on his first carry of this one, sets the Browns up after the Ravens went 3 and out. They start from midfield, gets the big carry down inside the 20. That would set up this. Bill Nelson from the 4 drops back. Quick hitter to Paul Warfield in the end zone. That connection would make its presence felt in this one. Browns strike first for a 7-0 lead. Now, we mentioned in the intro, the Ravens had a hard time protecting Tony Banks against the Bengals. That wouldn't change here. Browns would get him 5 times on the day, 3 times in the first quarter. Here's Mike Johnson bringing him down around midfield. Johnson shoots right up the middle. Nobody picks him up. Down goes Banks. Next drive for the Ravens, it'd be more of the same. Here, it's Bob Gain getting loose off the line. Banks, frustrated at the constant pressure, and with good reason, Banks takes the sack there from Gain. He gets up a bit slowly, clearly irritated by the situation. Lead in the half, Browns driving again, but Bill Nelson with just a terrible pass here. He had this connection going with Paul Warfield that would be felt throughout the game, but Warfield is absolutely blanketed here. Nelson tries to force it in. Gary Williams picks him off, and the Browns' drive dies in the red zone. The Ravens, however, would do absolutely nothing with it. They'd go 3-and-out. Cleveland makes a push before half. Nelson here down the right-hand side finds Kevin Johnson. Thought of as a bit more of a possession receiver, but he gets loose streaking down the right side. Nelson hits him for 28 yards to get the Browns down inside the 10. And that would set up Nelson to Warfield once again. 2 TDs for Warfield, and the Browns are in control heading into the half, 14-3. Or so it appears. Ravens in a 2 tight end set figure they'll run out, clock a couple of running plays just in case something breaks, and something does. Ray Rice pops one for 26 yards out to midfield, and the Ravens suddenly have an opportunity for something before the half. It would be a big something. Banks drops back down the right-hand side. That's Marquise Brown. 50 yards for the score. And the Ravens, who had done nothing all half, get the touchdown to head into the half, down by only 4, 14-10. Early third quarter now, opening drive, Browns down deep. Marty Schottenheimer puts all 3 tight ends on the field, and it's the third. Jordan Cameron, who takes this one from Nelson for the score to push the Cleveland lead back up to 11, 21-10. Fourth quarter we go, it's now 24-10, but the Ravens would start protecting Banks a bit better, and he'd start making some plays. Here he finds Travis Taylor, 36 yards, and the Ravens would be on the move. Taylor would have a big fourth quarter, and he and Banks start to build a bit of a connection. They need that second receiver to complement Marquise Brown and give Banks some options. Brown is still the number 1 guy, and Banks finds him here. Nicely done by Banks. Rolls out, evades pressure, throws on the move. A perfect pass. Good coverage by Frank Minifield on Marquise Brown in the corner of the end zone. But Brown lays out, reels it in for the score, and the Ravens would get back within a touchdown at 24-17. Brown's ball, and again, it's the Nelson-Warfield connection. Tim Herring goes for the pick, but he can't come up with the jump ball. Warfield wins it. 44-yard strike into Ravens territory, and the Browns are on the move. Herring knew a pick here would give the Ravens an opportunity to come down and tie the game. Take the risk, high reward. The risk is what burns them there. Ravens still on the move, and again, Nelson finds Warfield, this time down the left side. 34 yards, he's brought down. They say the knee hit just shy of the goal line, but the Browns would be banging on the door. Nelson and Warfield just incomplete sync in this one. Hanging on the door, who better to knock that door down with? Jim Brown, 1 yard out. Brown would go in. Cleveland would go back up by 14, 31-17. Brown takes a shot there from Ray Lewis. And not until after he'd broken the plane, Browns go up 14, and that would seal it. The Ravens would pick up a touchdown in the final minute, but the Browns would improve to 2-0 with the 31-24 victory at home. Brown again neutralized in the opening week, held 26 yards. This was more like it. 25 carries for 117 and a score for the reigning most valuable player here in the FSS. Paul Warfield, 8 catches for 127 and a pair of touchdowns. Nelson threw only 3 incomplete passes on the day, and one of them was an interception. 18 of 21 for 280 and 3 scores. Nelson, he's got weapons at his disposal. When they establish the running game, it opens up the pass, and Nelson has just been very solid, very efficient, and he's let the talent around him take control. The Ravens, Banks 20 of 32 for 294 and 3 touchdowns. That's as big a game as you can expect from Tony Banks. Ravens still lost. Banks really opened it up as his offensive line started protecting him. He was sacked 5 times in this one, 4 of them in the first half. Browns only 4-6 in the dog pound in FSFL history. They are a perfect 9-0 on the road, but the Browns love playing here in Cleveland. They've said they want to reverse that trend from a year ago. They went 3-6 last season at home, and they start off first home game of the year, 31-24 over the rival Ravens. We head to the NFC North and Minnesota, where the Detroit Lions, the worst offense in football a year ago, came off a Week 1 loss against the Packers. Those struggles continue. Green Bay certainly looked impressive in that game. The Lions clearly still have some stuff to work out. The Vikings were upset in Week 1 in a defensive slugfest against the Chicago Bears, falling at Soldier Field. They hope for a little home cooking here, get them back on the right track. We'll start here first quarter. Vikings coming down into 4th down. Instead of punting, they go for the fake punt. Ed Brown takes the short punt, hits Griffith out of the backfield. Robert Griffith with the reception there, a 22-yard pickup to keep the drive alive. Ed Brown looking solid there, throwing that one. Looking QB-esque, if you will. Drive continues for the Vikings, and here is Michael Bennett. Bennett would have a very strong performance for Minnesota. Bennett cut back inside, cut it back outside, found daylight, gets inside the pylon for the score. And the Vikings take a quick 7-0 lead. Late in the first quarter, still 7-0 Minnesota. Scott Mitchell, the much maligned Scott Mitchell, trying to get the Lions going. He goes down the left-hand side for Terry Barr. That's a 24-yard pickup down inside the Minnesota 25. Barr would have a strong day for the Lions as well. But the big key in this one for Detroit would be Mitchell's play. We'll get to that as this game rolls on. In there, quarter turns over to the second. From 1 yard out, Billy Sims finds a gap, finds his way into the end zone, and Detroit gets this game tied 7-7 on the run from Billy Sims. You see, not a big hole, but Sims finds his way through for the score. Vikings would get a field goal later in the quarter, 10-7. We pick it up late in the half, inside 2 minutes. Kirk Cousins looking to get the Vikings down the field, but he's brought down here. Wayne Walker with the sack. The Vikings only gave up 1 sack in Week 1 against the Bears. Lions got him 4 times today. Vikings would have to punt it away, and we head to the half, 10-7 Minnesota. Here's Mitchell now early in the third quarter. He's under pressure, and Carl Eller continues his strong start to the campaign. Eller would have 3 sacks in this one. He's got 5 in the first 2 games. Him and Howie Long just wreaking havoc on opposing offenses. Opposing quarterback here, Eller, 17.5 sacks a year ago, second in the league. Hurries Mitchell into the turf there. Early third quarter, Vikings with the ball. Here's Bennett, and Bennett again looks like he's stopped. Breaks through a hole, gets down inside the 40. Bennett would have a very strong game here. We mentioned that earlier when he had the first quarter touchdown. Bennett, remember, was knocked out early in the Week 1 loss to Chicago. Getting some good blocking there. Randall McDaniel, McKinglehoff setting things up for Bennett to get down the field and doing carry. And the Vikings Stick with the horse that brung you. Bend it again, right up the middle. Another gaping hole made by that Vikings offensive line. It bent it again down inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. The Lions defense would bear down here, and the Vikings would have to settle for a field goal. Third down, they get pressure on Cousins here. Doug English brings them down, and that would set up the field goal from Walsh. Minnesota's drive stalls out, and they would have to settle for the 13-7 Vikings early on in the third quarter. Still in the third, still 13-7 Minnesota. Cousins drops back here, looking down the field, Cousins takes off, gets a first down to keep the drive alive. Good scrambling there for Cousins, who did not have a good day throwing the ball for Minnesota. Nice train lane telling him, hey, slow down with that celebration. We got something more coming your way. Cousins' response is to get the Vikings into the end zone. Drops back here, play action, looks, rolls right, fires a dart. Well covered, Adam Thielen. Lem Barney was right there with him, but Thielen snatches it in the end zone for the score. Vikings would get 6 there. The 2-point conversion, however, and the lead would only be extended to 19-7. Good play there from Cousins. Creates the space, and again, Lem Barney right on Adam Thielen. Gets passed into the end zone for the score. 19-7, late in the third. Hand off here. They go on the sweep. Billy Sims wasn't able to create a heck of a lot out of the backfield. Dan Campbell, early on in this game, made a couple of very conservative play calls. Starts to open up the book a little bit. Little jet sweep there to Terry Barr. Barr, again, we said, had a very good day receiving the ball. He also had this run, getting down into Minnesota territory. Lions trying to get this offense in gear. They like that play so much, they basically run the same thing again. This time it's Golden Tate down inside the 30, keeping that drive alive. So suddenly the Lions moving the ball on the ground with a pair of wideouts. The Vikings defense kind of not sure what's going on. And they'd have less of a clue after this. Touchdown Mitchell to Golden Tate in the back of the end zone. Very good drive there for the Lions as they keep themselves in the hunt here. Moore and Tate celebrating. This game is as good as we've seen Scott Mitchell look since the FSFL began. That is a terrific throw. Again, good coverage there. Xavier Rhodes is right there with him. But Mitchell threads the needle for the score. 19-14 Vikings now. Early in the fourth quarter, Cousins is brought down again. Back inside their own 10. Robert Porte, his first sack of the season, brings them back to a 3rd and 17. That would force a Vikings punt. The Lions would get terrific field position, and they'd make Minnesota pay. 4th and 6 would have been a 40-yard field goal. 8 minutes left in the game, but Dan Campbell decides to go for it, and the Lions convert. On the 4th and 6, Mitchell finds Charlie Sanders. That moves the chains, and that sets this one up. 3rd and 18, back at the end zone, and it's Barr. Again, with the big connection, this time for the score. Mitchell to Barr, and the Lions take the lead midway through the fourth quarter. Campbell would predictably go for 2 here, and they would give it to Kevin Jones. Jones slides his way into the end zone, and the lead goes up to 3, 22-19 Lions in the fourth. 3.5 minutes left. The Vikings would go 3 and out on their next drive. They'd punt. Lions have it in their own end, but it's Keith Millard breaking through the middle, throws Mitchell down to the ground. A rough sack there from Millard on Mitchell. Lions would have to punt. Cousins would get the ball inside 3 minutes. Randy Moss has been a non-factor pretty much through the first 2 weeks of the season. He only had 1 catch in the game until this point. Cousins finds him there. Drops back. Next play, finds Moss again. So a pair of quick completions to Moss. Better late than never, I suppose, to get their best player involved in the game. Inside 2 minutes, Cousins dropping back. Looking, fires deep down the left-hand side, and it's Adam Thielen into the end zone, and the Vikings on the precipice of losing the 2nd straight week. Remember, they're the defending NFC North champion. Well, Cousins finds Thielen, into the end zone he goes, and the Vikings reclaim the lead. Cousins to Thielen with the big hookup late. Now it falls on Mitchell. We said Mitchell had his best game of his career in this one. And now he's past the fourth quarter comeback in the final minute, and he hits Terry Barr. Barr, the Michigan product, helping the Michigan squad down inside the 10. Gets the reception there and a terrific block from Charlie Sanders to set him free. Lions get down inside the Vikings 10, and the Vikings defense did hurt them much of the season last year. The Vikings would get into problems when they would give up big play. Their defense on the whole was great, but they give up big plays and big spots, and that burned them in most of their defeats. And it would do so again. 8 ticks left on the clock. Mitchell finds Herman Moore in the back of the end zone, the go-ahead score. And the Lions, 22 points in the fourth quarter, the game winner with 7 seconds left on the clock. Come into Minnesota and stun the Vikings, who are set for a second consecutive week. The reigning NFC North Division champions now sit 0-2. Lions with the victory, 29-26. Scott Mitchell, 22 of 32, 234 and 3 scores, his best game in his FSFL career. A 122 QB rate for the game, that's his high water mark. Terry Barr, 6 catches for 126 and a score. Herman Moore, the game-winning touchdown with 7 seconds remaining. Cousins struggled, 9 of 23, 148 yards, did throw the two touchdowns, but had an interception as well. Michael Bennett, terrific job, 124 yards out of the backfield. Big issue for the Vikings, though. Randy Moss had 6 catches through the first 2 games. This Vikings offense is not going to produce unless they can get Randy Moss involved on a regular basis. Carl Eller continues his terrific start to the season. And again, for the Vikings, 0-2 start the season, and they've got the Green Bay squad that has come flying out of the gate in week 3. It could set up a very tough situation for Minnesota if they fall to 0-3 and 0-3 in the division to start off year 2 here in the FSFL. Wrap up the week's coverage with a big AFC West matchup. Broncos looked terrible in a Week 1 loss to the Chiefs, while the Raiders, the defending division champs, outlasted the Chargers in San Diego. Always a war with these two. We head to the home of the Silver and Black, and we'll pick things up in the second quarter. That goes with a 3-0 lead, neither team having much success moving the ball in the first quarter. But Denver drives inside the Raiders' 20, here from the 17. Plummer rolls right, trying to evade pressure, but big Chester McLaughlin tracks him down for the 10-yard loss. Denver would be forced to settle for a 44-yard Jason Elam field goal to make it a 6-0 game. Broncos can apply pressure too. Here, dropping back is Stabler, while Lyle Alzado breaks through for the sack, a loss of 7 on the play. A bigger concern for the Raiders, Gene Upshaw, who would check out of this game. Remember, the Raiders fought things all season on their offensive line last year. Upshaw would miss much of this game, but would return late, a sigh of relief for Oakland. Still in the second quarter, 2nd and 9 from their own 35, and Plummer hits Lionel Taylor, who somehow squirts through 3 Raiders defenders. Tom Diasamoah misses the tackle. Van McElroy essentially picks Lester Hayes from getting Taylor, and Taylor breaks free, goes the distance, 65 yards, to give Denver a 13-0 lead. Broncos get a field goal midway through the third to make it 16-0. Still a 2-score game. So hope for John Madden's squad. But Denver's defense all over it, led by this man, Lyle Alzado. You saw he had the sack earlier. Here he absolutely dismembers Marcus Allen in the backfield on a pitch wide. Allen would have no room to work on this day, and the Raiders would amass only 46 yards rushing as a team. Late in the third quarter, Ken Stabler finds Ethan Horton down inside the 20. They were not at his best in this one, but he comes through here, and the Raiders with a shot to get it to a 1-score game. Stabler throw there on the money. That corner route, Raiders love that route, and Ethan Horton with the big reception. And on the very next play, Stabler this time would be looking for Mervin Fernandez on a short hook route. but Champ Bailey jumps it for the pick, his first of the year, and the Raiders would be turned aside and kept off the scoreboard. A big old donut still staring them right in the face. Denver would tack on a pair of fourth quarter field goals and a safety. Raiders would score in the final minute to end the shutout, but the Broncos defense, especially after a disappointing performance against Kansas City, come up with a huge performance here. Denver takes down Oakland 24-6. Plummer 21 of 37, 325 yards and a touchdown. Lionel Taylor 9 catches for 175, 5 yards. Big one there. Lyle Alzado had 4 tackles. All 4 of them were for a loss, including the sack. They held the Raiders 46-yard rushing. The Broncos' run defense, 22nd in the league a year ago. They were 20 of 34 for 194, the TD, but the big interception. And Marcus Allen limited to 18 carries, 38 yards. One positive story for the Raiders. Howie Long, 3 more sacks. He's got 5 sacks in the first 2 games of the year, after having only 6.5 all last season. Lone bright spot on a dark day for the Raiders who fall in front of the home crowd. That will wrap things up here for the Week 2 highlight show in the Franchise College Football League. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, we will get the Week 3 slate of games kicked off Monday afternoon with the Bills and the Jets. We will also have Buccaneers and Saints and the Cowboys and Eagles as our 3 live broadcasts for the Week 3 slate of games. And then later in the week, we will have the Week 3 wrap-up show that will also conclude the opening stage of the season with 3 divisional games to open the season. And we will also have, in that weekly wrap-up show, we will start running down some league leaders and stats from around the league. Hope to see you then. Thank you as always. Bang that like button if you haven't had it yet. Subscribe if you haven't had it yet. And most importantly, be good to each other. We'll talk soon.